everybody. Welcome to our leap year work session. I don't know how often that happens, but it's happening this year. So we'll have fun and enjoy it. First item we got on today's agenda is the CRA process and update.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioner. So you had asked for kind of an update on all of our CRAs. Many times we deal individually with specific issues, but we wanted to kind of go through all of them, the timelines and when they're due, where they're at in various stages. And so Rebecca's up and she's going to walk you through a process. She's available to answer any questions. But we also wanted to highlight some of the changes that we made a couple of years ago regarding questions that the Commission had regarding our CRAs and the review process when they come up to their midpoint review and things like that. So she's going to cover all that, and then we'll answer any questions that you have.
All right, welcome.
Good morning, Rebecca Stonefield with Housing and Community Development, and that's exactly right. I'm going to walk through kind of the high-level highlights of the existing policy that's in place, why it was established initially, when is it actually applicable to the CRAs, and again, some highlights of the methodology and process for evaluating CRAs. And then I will also provide a quick update on the status of existing CRAs within the county. So just a little bit of background. Back in the 1980s is when the counties first started seeing CRAs established. And at the time, there wasn't a consistent focused methodology for evaluating when CRAs were put into place. As you got into the 2000s is when ordinances started looking at individual CRAs and what is appropriate for county contributions and types of projects and so forth. And it was in 2002 when midterm reviews were established in specific ordinances for individual CRAs. It was in 2016 that you provided direction to staff to start looking at a more consistent evaluation process and a methodology for when determining if CRAs were established and what the contributions might be. And then it was in 2018, working with a consultant, that a focused methodology was utilized and put in place. And then in 2021 is when it was officially adopted by your board. And at that time also some guidance was provided for eligible expenditures and what that actually means. So again, this policy was put in place to have some sort of consistency across different CRAs when you're evaluating not only the establishment of the CRA, but if they come forward and seek an extension for their term limit or an expansion of the boundaries of the CRA itself is when the policy would be applicable. And there are a few primary reasons why the direction was given for this methodology, not only to use those consistent metrics and evaluation tools, but the county and the board wants to track how county TIF funds are being utilized, what projects they're being used on, what kind of progress is being made, and how is that return on investment over time being established. And of course, we have priorities, types of projects within the county, and are these different CRAs, in fact, spending county funds on these priority projects. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a couple slides. And also making its way into ordinances as per state statute as well, that county TIF contributions could not, county TIF contributions could not exceed that of what the city itself is contributing through the trust fund. And again, there are different scenarios in which this new policy is applicable to CRAs, and I'll touch on that a bit as well. And the policy was effective as of September 1st of 21. So what this slide shows that there are three different CRA types according to the methodology. You have urban revitalization, which a CRA would be categorized as if in fact the area was dealing with significant forms of blight, it was a widespread blighting issues and needed the most amount of assistance. A community renewal would be maybe it's not quite as blighted. There are still blight conditions, but needed focused investment through the trust fund. And then economic development, which maybe that primary base infrastructure is in place, but they still needed some funding to leverage projects and move the needle over the finish line. And then what this also shows is that there is a base contribution assigned in the policy for these different levels of categorization for 50% or 30% if you are economic development. And then there is also the opportunity for the board to approve a county priority match as outlined here, if in fact they're showing that their projects align with the county priorities, which I will touch on in just a moment. So this slide indicates what those typical county priorities are, and they are associated with housing affordability, which is usually looking at the AMI of 120% or lower, and those types of housing opportunities that the CRA would move forward. Mobility, when you're talking about enhancing opportunities for transit or walkability or general mobility within the CRA. And then employment and economic development, which is primarily job creation and stabilizing the local economy. And you can also see from this slide that this is really with a focus on capital projects and moving capital projects forward, and then some programmatic opportunities for funding as well. So that's kind of the high level of the county policy itself. And I wanted to show a few slides of showing the current condition of existing CRAs. And what this slide emphasizes, what you could see is that the majority of our CRAs were put in place prior to the policy being adopted, and therefore are not subject to the policy unless they come forward and seek either an extension of term or are looking to amend their boundary or do something that might trigger the need for the new policy. Those CRAs here that are highlighted in yellow, what that indicates is the establishing ordinance for those CRAs has language that says the board could not consider adjusting the county TIF contribution if there is debt service in place that the county TIF funds are associated with. So it's for those again highlighted in yellow. And then what this next slide does, it also shows when different midterm reviews are coming up or when the different CRAs are set to expire from the 95% county contribution. And the two that I want to highlight here that are coming up, you can see that Dunedin's midpoint review is coming up next year. However, again, that is limited by the existing ordinance that the contribution itself can't be adjusted based on the fact that there's debt service in play. And then also you can see that Oldsmar is set to sunset and the term is, the CRA itself is going to expire in the next couple years. And then on this last slide, what I just wanted to highlight a couple other things. You can see for those with this breakdown of county contribution, Safety Harbor is at 50% contribution. They had been seeking a 10-year extension. You had granted 2 one-year extensions for them to finalize their projects and their plan and identify those projects. So they'll be coming back to you within the next couple months for that 8-year extension that would total the 10-year extension that they were seeking from when it was initially set to expire, but they wouldn't be changing or asking for that change in the 50% contribution. It would not be going up. And similarly, St. Pete in town, you might be hearing from them within the next several months. They are looking at potentially changing what projects county TIF funds might go towards, but it's not their intention to change the contribution or the amount that the county would put into the CRA. So that's my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Renee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for those projects that were highlighted in yellow that could potentially have our funding tied to debt service, do you know what the dollar amount of debt service would be for each one of those or any one of those, and how long or how far out that debt service extends?
We do have that. I can provide that information for you. We do have that information, and it wouldn't go much beyond the expiration date. I believe there's another year beyond the expiration date that it's paid out. I'd have to double check that, but we have those totals and we can provide that to you.
Okay. I don't know if we're going to be thinking about, doing any other CRAs, going forward. But I really would like for us to think about doing that. Because if it's attached to debt service and that says that we're not going to be able to limit the contribution, then that puts limitations on us if in fact those projects aren't moving, or if things are not going well within that CRA. That takes away completely our ability to do anything with that. And I'm not saying that that necessarily would happen. I've already shared with this group the concerns that have been brought to me as it relates to the operation of some CRAs and whether or not they're actually going to the entities that they're supposed to. South St. Pete, you have it listed there, but the CRA there now extends all the way to 13th Avenue North. So, that's in a whole area that was already being brought up prior to the CRA. So now that they can apply for CRA money, that puts those individuals who really need those funds in competition with people who have the financial background and financial wherewithal. And so those projects have been approved where other projects that this was intended for are not getting approved. So that's my reasoning for asking. So whenever you get a moment, it's not a super rush on that, but I think that I would like for us to consider looking at how we address that language, because that really, in my opinion, limits our ability to do anything should those projects not move forward the way that they are intended. Thank you for your presentation, though. I really appreciate it. And some of the data helps me a lot in keeping track of where we are. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On that chart, is it, would it be easy for you all to put another column on there of the sunset year? Or are they all 30 years, or,
Go to the next slide. You have them.
Yeah, these do have,
So you have them on the next two charts.
if there's one in particular you'd like to see, I can put it on that slide.
No, it was just more for future reference for when I would go through these. But
So if you add it to that first slide, then they have it all right in one place.
Absolutely.
because I don't think unless I counted wrong, all of the large slide are on the two smaller slides, but maybe I just miscounted.
Okay.
And then what year did we put in the advisory, that every CRA had to have an advisory board public? Was that 18?
Was that 21 or was that in the 18?
Yeah,
Oh,
2000.
St. Pete was the first one? Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
It was prior to me, right before I came on.
So I've been told that they believe that's 2021.
Okay. And then have we followed, and this is an issue I haven't seen this year, but in recent history, the legislature has examined CRAs and put different rules on CRAs. Anything this year on that, do you know?
Nothing that's come to my attention, but I certainly will inform the board if I hear of anything.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. Dave?
Yeah, I'm glad we did this because I don't remember some of this. I mean, when you started talking to me, because I didn't know that we got rid of the 30-year on the urban revitalization. To me, that still should be in play. I don't think most of the ones for community redevelopment or economic development need the 30 years. But if we have a true urban revitalization in High Point or whatever, I'm just saying, to me, that still should be in play. Priority matches, that's, again, I thought it was more 95, 75, 50 set, so it's interesting about the priority match, and I assume we do that when they're applied for. Charlie mentioned having the sunset date. It'd also be kind of nice to see the values that create this TIF. So the current year value and the original value that absolutely started that baseline growth. Again, to remind everybody, the reason, at least the way I always heard, and I thought it was good, is that we're going to use tax dollars to rehab, renovate, revitalize, whatever the right word is, an area much better than it would have been had we used our monies. It's more focused, and I thought CRAs, maybe I misunderstood, but the CRACs, those advisory, have always been a part, haven't they? I mean, we've...
Not always.
Wow.
Not all of them had them. Remember we had that discussion when we were at the Magnolia Room?
No, I don't remember, so, you know. But thank you for pointing out my lapse of memory. No, I'm kidding. But in Dunedin, the CRA's been in place, and we've had a CRA advisory committee
Yes.
since the beginning. I mean, it's been there at least back to 2002, so I just thought it doesn't make any sense to have a CRA of not having one, so I'm glad we fixed something that I thought was already fixed. Yeah, so I think understanding the debt service, Commissioner Flowers mentioned the debt service that each of these groups have. It's just, again, it's just kind of gives you a sense of what's going on there. So, but yeah, you know, obviously, I'm a fan of these. I'm not sure if administration is as big a fan of CRAs as I am. I think they really provide good value if they're structured correctly. Not all of them are created equal.
I agree.
You know, I continue saying that there's real value in a economic development 10-year CRA for downtown Palm Harbor, which is our oldest downtown in Pinellas County. Of course, I get no support on that, but I really believe that there's a lot of infrastructure. And again, to this policy, when you talk about the different things, like housing affordability, mobility, employment, economic, I'm assuming that that's infrastructure that gets done. That's under employment and economic development. I don't remember the mobility part other than walking mobility. And if that's what we're talking about, then fine. But this was really about, you know, whether it's, you know, like in Dunedin, you have, like, the properties are so small that when they get renovated, where's the stormwater going to go? So creating some stormwater banking or some public parking garage. When we came, in fact, that was one of the last things I did as mayor, is came asking for that, you know, extension. It was all based on building a new garage because it was so successful that we needed more parking. So I think infrastructure needs to be an expenditure type. Somehow that needs to, and I try to get that in our strategic plan, which is now in there. I think it needs to be here too. It's a reminder of one of the drivers on again, some of the original ones that were done and some of the updates. So anyway, just some thoughts.
Barry, Jimmy?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. If you go back to the overall slide, and I think it was good to see. I mean, you've got so many different CRAs out there, and people see what's occurring in one area, and then they go, well, wait a minute, what about us on an extension? Because you're doing things down here, where CRAs really are trying to get that private investment. And so to your point, if you have infrastructure pieces in place that allows for that private investment. But these are real dollars that otherwise would have been on our county books that we then can use for either reducing our rate or completing projects. So it's not free money. And the hard part is you've got somewhere you've seen over time, you don't need TIF money. That area is booming, and that private investment is occurring. But because these things are so long, it was never projected. And we look at the tail end and we, forget about where they were at the beginning. So I think reviewing this policy, every few years, like we just talked about, we put a policy in place, coming back, looking at it and making changes to that, is a really good thing to do, because I think we'll get better at refining that and trying to go and align where we're putting funds with your priorities. The hard part is, especially with some of the smaller cities, and they see, in St. Pete where things are booming, you've got a long term and you really can't change it. That's kind of some of the harder parts where people go, wait a minute, you're putting money down there, but how do you change a policy and not, apply it and impact somebody? But these are real dollars, and it's significant. But you have at least a way of managing it, and you can always extend it, but at least it gives you the opportunity for it to come back before you and say, does it really make sense at that time? Some of these older ones, you don't have that ability, and that's when you as policymakers, you've questioned them. So I think it's a good start, but I think it should be reviewed periodically.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a, oh, Dave, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So of the, of the 15 we started with, are all 15 of them still active?
I believe of the ones that we have a county contribution for, they are still active. There are a couple for which we don't have a county contribution that are sunsetting or have sunset.
So it looks like, so 13 out of the 15 then are still active?
Let me take a look.
Current, I see current, on slide 7, current county TIF contribution, there's 2 with NA.
Right, 2. So I think the only one that has sunset is the Gulfport waterfront.
So that's a lot. You're right. Need to be reviewed.
It's a lot, and 40 years is a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah, I agree. Dave?
Yeah, and again, I think when it was first started, again, again, I'll just speak to more experience in Dunedin in '88, all the way through about 2010, 11. And again, I can't remember for sure about the TIF value, the values of property, but it was a very gradual increase. It wasn't too dramatic. We had the downturn, if you remember, back in '08, '09, and '10, and I think people thought, well, this sleepy little downtown is done okay. Right. So then the investment really came, and the values have really kind of taken off since, 08, 10, and then this last 10 or 11 years. And I do think we need to review them, and I do think it's appropriate to do that. But to say that we would have done what those cities did is absolutely, I am 100% confident, or 99% confident we wouldn't have done to each of these downtowns what the communities did with the money. I can give you an example. I mean, again, I'll just talk about downtown Palm Harbor. There are some capital projects that we're looking to get done, and if there was more focused money there, and I don't know what the TIF would be now because it's, we've already ridden this big increase, so there's not going to be that much TIF there. But some of those infrastructure projects, whether it was parking, whether it was stormwater, whether it was increasing the pond, or more parking on site, or more parking down on the other side of Alt 19, perhaps would have been done. You have more focus to get things done. It's not as, you're not competing projects. That's the beauty of them, and I think there's a real value to them. But to the point about, when we get some of these monies starting to come back into the general fund, it will be a good thing. It'll be a lot more than we would have otherwise gotten. We won't catch up, but it will be some nice infusion of product of cash for the county.
I don't know that we'll ever get those back, because on the clock, I mean, every city watches the clock of these things and applies for an extension, or as you said, they see what's happening in other areas, and if they haven't gotten their share in a while. But it's a great conversation, because I think we all forget sometimes how much the county does invest in our cities.
That's right.
And when we're out talking to our mayors and councils, I think sometimes they forget too.
And I think it's a true policy issue. I mean, how much do you want to, I mean, there's not too many cities I can't go for that they say, well, you should help us with sidewalks or this or that or, whatever. And you kind of go, well, from policy setting, what's our role? Should we be, doing those, or should that be a city's responsibility? And, and the CRAs is an area where it kind of crosses. It's clear outside of it, but then, and the policy you created in 21, we've been able to use that to push back and say, no, it really is 50%. You got to bring that down from 95. And, so it actually has helped us, in bringing CRAs forward to you for renewal and things, and how we kind of focus that. And so it is having these things, they take forever. You only have 2 come up in the next 5 years, so.
Right. Well, and do we have a rolling, like, for, again, I'm not trying to look to add to your, but is it easy in any budget year to simply pull up, in this last budget year, the county contributed X million to the different CRAs?
So we can get that.
I think that would be wonderful to have as part of our conversation.
But to the point about you know, some of these CRAs, and if I was a city that had, you know, 8 years left on my CRA, and you said, well, we're going to go ahead and give you 15, but we're going to drop it from 95 back to 50, where we're getting our money sooner, but it'll go on a little bit. I don't know what the net present value of the two is, but there's ways to try to get some of those dollars flowing sooner if you can negotiate a trade-off on that. And I don't mean giving 20 more years. I'm just saying giving a few more years, but in exchange. So I think that's something that we should have on the table. The other thing I was going to ask you on CRAs in general, are they, I know again in Dunedin, because I'm closer to it, they're talking about extending their CRA without county money, obviously, beyond that time. Is that something that we still vote on here to approve the CRA, even though?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Any downside?
And we have others in St. Pete, we've done the same thing. You know, we said, okay, you want to extend it on your half, then.
Any downside to us for doing that? I mean,
No,
it's not a dollar.
Their money at that point.
Yeah,
it's their money,
still being focused.
and it'd still be focused.
Yeah, they can
And
still
the
use
same-
their TIF.
Correct,
Yeah.
and the same CRA rules and the policy and the advisory committee would apply.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the county's portion.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it maintains that focus still on a vibrant area that's kind of, it doesn't define the community, but it's, you know, you start to get some real press, if you will, or some real investment in those areas. So anyway, I think it's awesome. Thanks for the presentation and clarifying obviously some things that I had forgotten. But if we could get that one, even if you turn it a little bit and add a few more columns, that would be great.
I'll get you the
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Just one last question I have. So, and you probably already said this, but, so does each one of these have an advisory committee or no?
I don't believe each does. There are a number that do. I can get that for you as well. But I don't believe the majority of them do.
Wow. I cannot imagine not having a CRA with those kinds of funds, not having an advisory committee, which is obviously the city commissions. They're the advisory committee, but then having the citizen advisory, we called it CRAC, C-R-A-A-C. But yeah, having those committees, how important and how, you know, a way to reach to the residents even more so.
That was a key part of your discussion in 2021.
Yeah.
And it actually came up before that, where you guys said, we really need this to occur. And most where we engaged with them, because there was a reason for them to come to us, they've created that. But predating that, all the others, she can get you an answer
Find
on
that out
that.
for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Question, just, is there any, and again, I don't know where it would be, any appetite for introducing under the urban revitalization, a 30-year, and I'm just talking about, there may not be that many places in the county anymore, but there are some that we might want a longer period. We're saying up to 30 years. It doesn't mean you're going to get 30 years. But I think about some of the areas that are, you know, that were like Laleman when we made a commitment. What is Laleman's, by the way?
Oh, that's a 30-year as well. And the one thing I will clarify is that I believe that the policy says 20 years establishment, but allows for a 10-year, consideration of a 10-year extension.
Yeah, and again, that's probably okay unless you get into some of that financing that, you know, on something that might extend beyond. Again, I'm not up to speed on what capital financing terms are. 20-year might be enough.
We can look at that. I mean,
yeah.
and if we could always do an extension as part of their need to be able to issue debt or something, if they
Yeah.
brought back something. I think the real issue is trying to get away from some of these long ones where everything's changed. And there's no opportunity for the commission to take a second look at that.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly some of them aren't, they shouldn't be getting 95% now. And if we had those rules in place, that, you know, it's not, maybe in the beginning, it really, you know, they always talk about tumbleweeds going through the downtown, and Not anymore.
Correct.
And certainly even 5-10 years ago when Dunedin asked for the extension, it was probably more, they didn't have the option to do a 50% then. Not that they would have seeked it. We would, we would have gone after the 50%, but you didn't have that as an option.
You usually want 110%.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Anything else? Renee? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Welcome. All right.
All right, so next we'll move on to the surface water assessment update.
Okay, so Kelly and Kelly
Kelly and Kelly
are up.
All right.
And
Kelly squared.
We'll say I and Y. And I know they talked to you individually about the surface water the surface water assessment that we currently have in place. This has been in place for some time. This is how we. 1, 2, 3. You just lost your quorum. This is how we manage. Oh, he's here. This is how we manage all of our drainage systems, and so I'll let them kind of go through this. I know they talked to individually. This is a better overview and some options and ideas about how to move forward. And we're just looking for initial thoughts. We can bring back specific strategies, but this will be the first introduction to tackling what is otherwise up for renewal.
Right.
Great.
So good morning, Kelly Hammer-Levy with the Public Works Department, and I have with me Kelly Westover from Stantec, so it is literally the Kelly show. So I'm just going to give a little bit of history, and then I'm going to turn over the mic to Kelly, and I will help answer questions as we go forward. So our agenda, again, I'm going to discuss program history, and then Kelly's going to go into our level of service assessment that Stantec has revisited and our accomplishments, the financial planning of the program, and then another component, the major drainage survey, which has kind of started with the initial surface water assessment program, something we were asked to look at back then, and I added it back in here again just to kind of revisit those conversations. So with the program history, back in 2011 through 13, we went through a very comprehensive study of our stormwater program, how we maintain our assets and at what level we maintain our assets, identifying gaps in our program, looking at opportunities for improvement. At this point in time, I will say it was right after the recession. The Public Works Department at that time had undergone extensive cuts, and we found ourselves in a place where we were not meeting regulatory minimums, which was obviously a problem. Out of that came the development of goal-based level of service alternatives and the costs associated with delivering that level of service. And then a rate structure was developed to support the board's direction and where they wanted to go with the service level. That assessment was ultimately adopted in 2014. And as Kelly's going to show you, we have achieved the board's approved level of service since its inception. And in some areas, we actually exceeded it, such as the community rating system, where we went back then from a community rating system of 7 to a 2, which is a very, very high bar. We have spent a lot of time on improving operational efficiencies to achieve and maximize our return on investment, which is why you'll see in the financial analysis we didn't raise rates much. We kept lean and mean. It's like how do we complete this? How do we do it better, more efficient? Additionally, we did obtain grant funding to offset some of our expenditures. We also entered into interlocal agreements to share services with the cities so that they would, so we could deliver, for example, the water quality monitoring program more efficiently, less costs for everyone. We also, in our watershed planning program, typically receive 50% grant funding from the Water Management District, and then also cost share with cities if they have a portion of the watershed. So we've been able to offset some costs in those areas as well. As you're going to see, our current fund forecast, even with all of those efforts, is not sustainable. And just a few weeks ago, after this presentation was finalized, we received our draft permit from the state, which regulates our stormwater system, and the requirements are more stringent. They will require more. We are still kind of defining and evaluating what that more is and what it's going to take to get there. But I just wanted to put that out there because it is not reflected in this presentation because it was not, it's still not known how those impacts are going to affect our costs. So with that, I'm going to turn over everything to Kelly, and I'll be here for questions.
Thank you. Good morning, Commission.
Good morning.
Kelly Westover with Stantec Consulting Services. Stantec has been working on 3 parts of our scope with the county. First is to evaluate your current level of service with regard to surface water program maintenance. The chart that you see here is the original level of service criteria that was established back in 2013. At that time, there's 3 different buckets, just to orient you. The first is program management. Next is your NPDES permit compliance with regard to non-operating and maintenance components. And then that last column there is the permit compliance for your O&M activities. Back in 2013, they created an A through F ranking system. And the goal at that time, what was adopted by the commission, was between a C plus and a B minus. B minus for program management and the NPDES permit non-O&M compliance, and then a C plus for that permit O&M component. So our engineers went through and tabulated, reviewed, worked closely with your staff to look at all of the different activities that you're currently doing with regard to your surface water program. And this is the scorecard. These are the results based on the activities that we looked at over the last couple of years. So for program management, you actually scored better than what the original goal was of a B minus and scored a B plus. And Kelly mentioned some of those activities that the county went above and beyond, like developing an asset management plan, getting that APWA accreditation, which is quite prestigious. And then also with the non-O&M compliance components, that also scored higher, a B versus a B minus that you were shooting for. And a lot of those components that went above and beyond was with regard to resiliency, the flood resiliency tool, a lot of the efforts that staff has worked with the community. And that last column there is your day-to-day operations out in the field component. And that was right on target with that C plus to B minus. So the next part of our work with the county was to do an evaluation of your current rate, project forward, look at what future needs may be for the revenue requirements for the fund. So background, the fee was adopted in 2014, originally established in 2013 at $116. You've had 2 minor increases, 1.5% in fiscal year 2018, and then your current budget has a 3% increase for fiscal year 2024, and your current fee charged today is $121.27. And I'd like to point out that provides funding for those activities that we looked at in that scorecard. It does not fund your CIP, your stormwater capital program. So when we started to look at the fund, our key observations were that the revenue currently generated has not been keeping up with your expenses, and that just in fiscal year 24, the estimated revenue is $21.8 million, and it's not fully funding those expenses of $24 million. And we're going to see that that kind of continues throughout our projection period. So the key issues affecting really the expenses, inflation, we've all been experiencing that, personnel increases, pension increases, retirement plans, and then just escalated costs associated with your fuel, your supply, all those different components. You do have an older system that's aging, and there's a component that requires rehabilitation, replacement of that aging infrastructure. Kelly mentioned, it's not even on here, the new NPDES permit that you have coming up, that's going to place additional pressure potentially on the operations and maintenance component. Yes, Vice Chair Scott, I see.
Yeah, I just had a question on these the 116, 117, whatever it is now, 121. Is that just about what every house is assessed?
So that's the fee for an average medium-sized residential home. So that's the fee per equivalent residential unit.
And It's
That's annual.
okay, it's because there's typically on homes, there's no on-site retention. I mean, the thinking behind it, right? So that when we have water runoff, a lot of it sinks into the ground, but sometimes we have runoff and gets into the system. So the idea is that each of our homes are paying towards that overall stormwater.
Towards the program itself. And
So what about new commercial that comes into play?
so the fee is based on the measurement of impervious area on the parcel. So depending on how much impervious area, for residential, they would go into 4 different categories: a small, medium, large, or extra large. So for new residential, perhaps they have more impervious area and they're larger, so they may go into a large category. They could stay within that medium category. So it's really dependent upon the impervious area on the parcel as to what the fee is that they pay.
The impervious as a percentage of the total, or just,
Square footage of impervious on the parcel, that measurement equates to the category that they go into for residential.
Yeah.
And then for non-residential, it's a little bit different structure. It's based on impervious area as well. At just over a 2,300 square foot increment, they pay that $121.27 currently.
I'm just trying to understand the logic on the houses, that if you have a big, 2-acre, 3-acre house that has, 8,000 square feet, so it's a lot more impervious, but as a percentage of the property, it's even probably lower than some of the smaller properties, and they're getting dinged with a higher number because they have more impervious versus all of that area that they have that is pervious. And if you had 2 houses or 3 houses, you would probably just be getting hit with the smaller fee. So, and then on the commercial side, it seems like with new development, it's being developed, or at least my understanding was that it's being developed to keep the water on property. And so you have your retention ponds, and the runoff is captured there.
Exactly. There's a mitigation credit program that the county has associated with your stormwater assessment. So there's different ways that parcels can apply for and receive credits that your staff tracks as well.
Okay, and so if it's got all of the standards that are needed in a new construction, what percentage of the fee that we charge is mitigated? Do we have a sense of that?
So it's site by site, and as you know, the regulations have changed at different periods of time. So I'm not sure exactly. We could look at some potential parcels for you and get back
Just to
to
kind of get a sense of what kind of mitigation we're really giving credits.
Sorry. It depends on the volume of water that is retained in that particular stormwater pond. So as Kelly said, depending on when your pond was constructed, it may result in a 25% reduction in your ERUs, or, we have parcels that actually retain the 100-year storm, and those property owners receive a 75% reduction in their ERU.
And those, you go over that when they come in for design. They may only be required to do 25%, but you tell them about the other, I'm
I've
sure.
encouraged, this is a kind of a partnership with DRS, but we do have it online. We have a calculator that any person can use, and they can plug in like just like you said, 25%, 50%, and so they can see, because that is a credit that is applied every year. So you got to figure out where your return on investment in that investment is.
Could you comment on that, the 5-acre piece of property that has a 8,000 foot versus a 1/4 acre property that has a 4,000 or 2,000 square foot, and how that works out equitably?
Again, they can come in and use the policy. The policy doesn't simply pertain to a pond. You can have other unique characteristics of your property that reduce runoff and reduce contributions to the system, and those can be documented. So it's not necessarily, you don't have to have a pond. It may be something else. And so we have multiple tools in there. For example, we had a marina, and they have obviously a lot of impervious area, but what they did is there was a section of their marina where they were parking boats on a designed gravel system. And so there's impervious reduction based on the Department of Transportation's calculations that we use. So it's not considered 100% impervious. They get an impervious credit there. So there are
Even
tools
on
in
the
the
residential,
toolbox.
we can work on, you have a credit system there too, so that.
Yes, it's not specific to commercial. Anybody can apply. We also have, we've had folks come in for both, not only just a credit, but also an adjustment. For example, a homeowner will come in and say, you know, we use the property appraiser's data on single-family residential to determine what tier they fall into, small, medium, large. And so using that data, sometimes a resident will say, well, my deck got tagged, but my deck is elevated and it's a wood plank and the water just goes through into the ground and there's no pad under there and it soaks in. And so they can apply for an adjustment and get that removed or adjusted based on, you know, if they do have some impervious underneath, and reduce their amount they pay that way as well.
If you have a large piece of land and it has a decent-sized house on it, so the impervious is, the amount of square footage that's impervious is much larger than a smaller home on a smaller piece of land. But the percentage of pervious area is still much higher than it is on the smaller. Do we have any avenues for credits there? I mean, they haven't done anything different, but they just have a lot of grass on their property. I'm just wondering.
They can apply, and we look at it. One thing to consider here too is, well, you know, one, there's I'm not going to jump into Jules' world, but there is the foundation, the basis for setting up criteria for utilities. So we need to stay consistent with that. They've been legally challenged and held up in court and all of that. That notwithstanding, we, you know, also, sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second.
Well, while you're getting that, Commissioner, also remember we're looking at the stormwater regs right now, and we're going to be bringing those back to you. That large lot is one of the issues that we're looking at as part of that.
Okay.
So, yeah, and the other thing is our ratepayers are not only just paying for their little drainage area out front of the road. They're paying for the entirety of the system. And that system benefits everyone, because you can't drive away from your neighborhood down a street if that drainage system isn't functioning and keeping the water off the road. So it isn't simply, we don't look at the system as lot by lot. We look at it as the benefit area, which everyone benefits from.
And I'm glad to hear that we're bringing back the large lot ones. It just, from a logical standpoint, I think it makes some sense to look at that, so. Thank you.
Kelly, I have one quick question. I'm not sure which Kelly this is for, but for new construction, do we have impact fees on top of this?
Associated with stormwater?
Right.
No.
No, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this highlights the main components for the financial management plan. So we look at all of the revenue requirements for the fund. So that includes your personnel salaries, your operating supplies, any maintenance and repairs that you have to do, permit compliance, that MPDS permit that we mentioned, your planning, your customer service components, all of that goes into the revenue requirements that we then incorporate into the financial model. We also look at your reserve requirements, which is 2 months of your operation and maintenance budget to have that on hand in need of any emergency repairs that occur. We did not include any growth within that equivalent residential unit. That was constant throughout. And this graphic on the right just shows over the 10-year, we looked at what percentage is going to your personnel costs, your operations and maintenance activities, and then those minor capital repairs. And that's the split over a 10-year look period. So this is kind of the bad news for the current day scenario. So in blue, you see the revenues projected. In yellow, you see the expenses. And that black dashed line that turns red is that reserve balance. And so currently, without any additional increases other than what you have in your current resolution, which is a 3% rate increase annually up to a maximum of $128.66. So we included that, what you have in your current resolution here. And that shows that by fiscal year '26, you're going to be out of your reserves. And there's about a $3 million, give or take, depending on the year, difference between the revenues and the expenses. So our next challenge was to work closely with your staff to identify some potential alternative rate adjustments that could occur. So we looked at 5 different potential scenarios, and there's a lot of information here, so I'm just going to walk you through it. So the first one is really the highest increase, and it's exactly to fund what you have in your current level of service, and that would be a double-digit 12% increase in '25, followed by 4% indexing thereafter. That would fully fund your current level of service, your expenses to date, along with just normal projectionary inflation components. The second scenario we looked at was to reduce that first year increase, so to bring that 12% down and split it up between fiscal year '25 and '26, so a 9% in '25, a 6% in '26. And in order to make that happen, it would require either borrowing from a different fund or reducing expenses, delaying maybe some of that aging infrastructure repair and replacement, different components. But that would require, as you can see there, $500,000 reduction in '25 and $100,000 reduction in '26. And then that could be paid back, estimated in fiscal year '29. You would recoup enough to be able to do that. Yes,
A question on the, back to that financial management plan, the 5% was minor capital. What is that in dollars? Do you know what that, I know it varies.
I don't offhand.
Okay.
This one right here, yeah, I could get that for
I
you.
was just trying to, when I think about borrowing, I think about borrowing for capital purposes, not for operating. So I'm looking at the capital there to see how much.
It's roughly between 2 and 2.4 million a year. It's what we use for the corrugated metal pipelining in the unincorporated area.
Okay, so back to these alternatives, when you're talking about borrowing, it's to help offset those increases. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, in my mind, you can justify that to some degree based on how much we're using in capital. So I was just trying to get a handle on that. That would be 2 to 2.5 million a year, right?
Currently.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're currently spending.
Okay.
And that's just to differentiate between the stormwater, surface water, CIP, large projects. That's not considered like the large capital program. That's just the minor repairs and replacements and that corrugated metal pipe component.
Yeah. Well, what's the life on the corrugated pipe? I mean,
I'd say 30 years, but you.
Yeah, every corrugated metal pipe in our right-of-way is well beyond its life cycle of about 25 to 30 years.
Okay.
So what we've got left, we are either lining if the structure itself is sufficient to hold the liner, or removing it and replacing with RCP.
yeah, but I'm not saying we don't have needs. I was thinking about, it's a capital, however small it is. It's not a big expense item compared to redoing lines, miles of pipe, but it's still a significant dollar amount. And it's like life is 20, you said 20 to 30 years, so to me, that's a.
Yeah, this was a big issue for the board at the time of the initial assessment. We had a major corrugated metal pipe failure on Sunset Point Road that took out the sewer, it took out the road, it took out private property, every piece of infrastructure went with it. It took it all. And the question was, well, Kelly, how much more of that do we have out there? And it was, I think right now it's like 26 miles. I'm not sure how far we are. I think we're at like mile 18 to 20 is my ballpark. So we've got more that we have to finish. And then there's some, to be frank, our inventory grows as we find new stuff out there. We're as Kelly mentioned, we're an older developed community, and so sometimes we do find infrastructure that we weren't aware of.
That work you did on County Road 1, crossing County Road 1, was beautifully done and well done. But then the contractor was talking, he said, as you go to the east and west, there was some, oh my gosh, there may be some other things that we're now having to address, so.
Yeah, we have a 60-inch corrugated metal pipe on Sunset Point that we are.
60-inch.
60-inch, yes. That's the size of the one that failed. And yes, so I have literally stood up inside that pipe.
Well, that doesn't. I'm teasing, Kelly.
I knew that was coming.
All right, thank you.
You may need to pull your chair closer. Okay, so multiple scenarios here, 5 scenarios for consideration. Scenario number 4 includes a 4% rate indexing, not doing a larger increase, just a 4% rate indexing. Scenario 5, we looked at, could we just do a 5% rate indexing? What does that look like? And so those are the amounts of either, borrowing from another fund or reducing the cost, and then when that could be estimated to be paid back. So this next chart is those same alternatives, and we looked at what is the annual increase to what Commissioner Eggers was talking about, that medium single-family residential customer that you have. So the first column there is fiscal year 24. That's your existing rate, the 121.27. And then each alternative, that bold line has the annual increase. So they currently, for the first scenario there, they would increase annually $14.55 for 12%, and then you could see thereafter. Alternative 2, lowering that down to 9%, would be about $11 increase a year on their assessment. Alternative 3, same, but looking at a 4% indexing. Alternative 4, about a little less than $5 increase a year. If we increased it at 5%, it would be about a $6 to $7 increase a year. And again, this is an assessment on their tax bill annually, so that's an annual increase number.
So on that borrowing piece that you're talking about, you're borrowing 1.5 the first year to do some capital, adding to whatever funds you already have to do capital, and then the next year you're doing another 1.6. What's the term on that, on those debt? Are they kind of a revolving line of credit? I mean, do we?
So it's not an actual borrowing from a credit agency. We were just looking at an internal borrowing, something that would happen within the county. So there's not a necessary term and interest rate included on that yet.
I just wanted to add one clarifying point on the capital. So our stormwater capital program is funded by the Penny for Pinellas. The big projects that we do, the big major drainage projects, like Lakeshore Estates, that was Penny for Pinellas. The South Myrtle project that we just completed, Penny for Pinellas and American Rescue Act helped us out there too. So this is, when we say minor capital, this was funds that the Board of County Commissioners at that time said they wanted to pull from the surface water utility and allocate specifically to addressing these failing pipes. So our bigger program is outside of this.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're comparing, and it's very colorful. We're comparing the average annual medium single-family home throughout your community, so the other jurisdictions surrounding this community. So if you can see the very bottom gray, Pinellas County medium existing, that's your current rate at 121.27. And then at the very top, that other gray is the average within this community, and it's $142.14. So all of the alternatives that we looked at would be moving up, obviously, from your existing, but would still be below the average around the community. And I also want to point out that this is everyone's rate that we put in here as of fiscal year 24. And many, many communities are increasing their stormwater fee. So this is a moment in time for fiscal year '24, but most likely a lot of these fees are increasing because they have similar pressures to Pinellas County. So key observations and guidance regarding the financial plan component is that the current revenue level is not sustainable, and there's some sort of a significant rate adjustment that would be needed in order to keep up with your increasing costs. We recommend an annual 4% indexing, regardless of what you do in the near term, to keep up with that inflationary pressure. And you can look at this financial plan annually to see, have expenses gone up or gone down based on the projections, and true it up and see if that rate scenario is accurate, and that you currently are comparable to your peer communities and well underneath the average. So the third part of our scope with the county was to assist with a survey looking at your major drainage system. So throughout all of the jurisdictions, it's a very busy map. I don't expect you to understand all of it, but there's all these jurisdictions within the county, and there's a criteria for what's considered a major drainage system. So those large channels, those large conveyance systems that are shared between the county and the jurisdictions that drain the land. And we are looking at if there's interest to collaborate with those other jurisdictions in the county to potentially gain some efficiencies in the maintenance activities. So it could be frequency, it could be type of maintenance. We're talking about mowing, clearing sediment, vegetation management to improve the drainage throughout those systems. So we have issued a survey to all the jurisdictions. We have about 4 left, I think, that we haven't heard from that we're communicating with. And we're going to be compiling the results of that survey to see what they're currently doing, what does it currently cost them, if they're interested in partnering with the county to gain any efficiencies there, what the level of interest is. And then we'll be holding a workshop with those jurisdictions, and I know that staff will be bringing back any recommendations to the commission.
Any idea when Barry, when we'll be seeing that? Okay.
I'm hearing that part just like you are.
The survey will be complete probably within the next month, and then we'll hold the workshop shortly thereafter. And then it would be probably a coordination component with staff to bring it back before commission. So I would say 3 months or so.
When would we need to make a decision on this? By September of this year, you think, or earlier?
Well, we need a direction. I mean, we can tie it into the budget. It doesn't necessarily need to be tied into the budget. Obviously, the sooner the better. You saw the slides last time on pension cost and things like that. That's, all that's driving this, and so, it's not going to get better with time. It's really an issue of how to true up. I think the one thing, this slide or this presentation kind of highlights it, is the focus that we've had on infrastructure. Mm-hmm. If we continue to do what we've done in the past, slowly things break, and we've seen that over and over again. So it's not as necessarily the sexiest thing in the world, but putting assets to where we keep things from failing and properly maintain our infrastructure is just so important. This is a key component of that infrastructure. We talk about roads and stuff a lot. This is just as important that you don't necessarily see every day.
Again, just curious about the way I understood it would be internal borrowing. So if we were to take number 4 and have that 4% increase, we're doing also somewhere around $1.5 million a year. I'm assuming it's coming from a source of funds that we have available within the county. So it's obviously taking from some other funding source. Correct. It could go to something else. Is that the trade-off because we're not paying interest, so to speak, on it?
Well, it depends on where we borrow it from. I mean, if we take it from Penny, then obviously there's a project not getting done until we get the money back, right? Yeah. And so there's no good source. I could borrow it out of the solid waste fund, That's an easy one, but we will have to pay it back with interest. That's an easier way of doing that. You did that in the last penny when you got towards the end. So there's some internal things.
Okay.
We're trying to get a sense of kind of where you want to go with it, and then we can bring you back some strategies based upon your direction.
Okay.
Thank you. So the current year is $21.4 million. That's how much this fund is bringing in. Is that accurate? So do you know that 21 million, when we did this plan, part of the consideration was that we were spending transportation dollars, roadway dollars on doing some of the basic maintenance of the drainage areas. And that, I know that 20 million probably got swallowed the first year in that transportation budget, but kind of all over the place, sorry about that. So as far as any kind of increase, our philosophy has in the past been smaller increases year over year rather than hitting someone with a 12% increase in 1 year. And so that's if we had to do it. But I think also would be helpful, as we did last year with the budget presentations, is what if we didn't do it? And what if we had, what if we had no ability to raise the money, and that what would our level of service and what would that impact be? And then what would our CRS rating? And then, to kind of see the flip side of this coin of, how bad things in certain areas. So how would we address that? We had no ability to raise the money. What would our level of service be? What would the flooding issues be? That kind of thing. I think that would be helpful in the conversation.
Okay, yeah, I would just probably take us back, to where we were, maybe maintain some things and then drop out other programs like the corrugated metal pipe one. That was, that one is kind of easy because it's standalone, but then there are obviously consequences to that. So we can, pull together alternatives and what that looks like. I did just want to remind that, Kelly had it up front in the presentation that, regardless of what ultimately is decided, our current resolution limits us to the decisions we can make for this for fiscal year 25. So if there was a desire to make a change, we would have to have a new resolution. So that would be part of the budget process. So I just didn't want that little piece to get lost in the discussion.
Or you could do it earlier.
True, yes, of course. We can do the resolution earlier, but I just wanted to make sure that resolution piece was still on our minds.
Yeah, I think it's just that nobody likes, we didn't do any increase for 5 years, and then, because we didn't do that, we haven't kept up, and now we're in that position of having to try and catch up.
Yeah.
And in order to just catch up to basic level, it's a 12%, 15%, something like that.
And I apologize, because you've given that direction really clear. And every time, we turn around, there's a little fee here or there or somewhere there where we should have come back earlier and asked for more incremental. The impact's the same, but it's kind of that shock value, especially from a percentage. If you look at it from a dollar percentage, you're going, rather than, $12, you're going up $10. So, on a yearly basis. So it's minimal, but from a percentage standpoint, you're exactly right. There's other alternatives. I mean, if you did option 2, and you said take 600,000 out of reserves and give a one-time feed to that, we could, there's things that we could do like that, in the scheme of things. We could look at any and all options you have. This kind of lays out the big picture of the choices that we have trying to properly support the program.
Well, I think, from my perspective, it's somewhere between 4 and 12%, but I think we have to know where the money can come from and how it impacts those other funds to really be able to kind of make a decision on it. But, I mean, 12%, nobody's going to want to see that.
I know. But if you said $4, is it better to rip the Band-Aid off rather than do a borrowing?
That's a point, yeah.
I
mean, from an annual perspective, is it massive? No, but, there's all these other little, $4 here, $10 there, and
they add up.
It all adds up.
Pennies add up to dollars, I get it. I mean, we can look at, you know, we've talked about reserves. We're going to bring back an ordinance next month. I think it's next month, aren't we? On our reserve levels and end of year closeout and some projects. I mean, we can look at something like that and not do a borrowing. I just hate to have something, you know, kind of linger out there till 2029.
Right.
Is, you know, my bigger concern. I'd rather address it, but that, and if we could come up with something, maybe, you know, if,
Well,
would
we
we be
have-
okay with, you know?
We have those, you know, that new reserve level that we have, 20.8, is 4 points too high, in my opinion, that there's monies, there's monies there to pay, you know, some of this upfront stuff. So just saying.
Yep.
But anyway, there's places to find money.
But I, you know, so we did have, you know, and we're going to bring back this, and there's other, you know, there's a lot of other projects out there, you know, and so Sheriff has a driving range, for instance, you know, that we need to address. We have a campus that is going to have a lot of cost right up front, you know, and so our plans are to delay borrowing, you know, and be able to do some things up front, you know. We could rearrange and put some money over into this. It's a little bit different. Those are reserve levels for everyone. We could target this. This is unincorporated, but, you know, we could do that. And then get away from the borrowing piece if we're comfortable with kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and, you know, doing a little larger increases to get the fund caught up. It's kind of a balance. Just for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, it's just intergenerational, like, so you know that we're not bearing the cost today for a use that's going to be there for 20, 30, 40 years. Think of the new campus, for instance, right? I mean, we're all paying for it today.
we'll pay
Next
for that in the
generation will
future.
pay for it a little
Yeah,
bit, and
I
you know.
understand.
So, yeah, spreading it sometimes. And we've been very good about not bringing a whole lot of debt on, you know.
You know, what we did last year with the wastewater is we kind of took a middle road. Is we didn't go all the way with the rate increase. We kind of went somewhere in the middle, understanding that we may need to borrow something in the future. So, I mean, I would propose we probably take the same approach, my thought on it, just to try to smooth out the increase as much as we can for folks.
Maybe like alternative 2 and 3, and maybe some type of looking at some of the borrowing cost or other alternative revenue to keep that borrowing down or eliminate that.
I mean, that's kind of what I think. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but. Charlie, Renee?
Yeah, I think thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's ways of somewhere in between 2 and 3, and instead of a 9 to 4 or a 5.3, you know, it doesn't have to be a
Right.
solid round number kind of thing.
Well, why don't you let us, I mean, we got some feedback from you. Why don't we staff it and we'll bring back something to you real soon.
And I would just add that, you know, to your points, and that, you know, it's not big dollars, but when you tell people, our residents, again, what they're getting hit with a 9% increase, that's again, it all adds up, number one, but number two, it's just psychologically right now, it's like people are hurting, you know, so we're talking about, so if we can, you know, spread that just a little, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
When you're talking about inflation rates and the increases in property values and, oh my gosh, you know, insurance costs, and, I mean, it's, you know, none of, some of those aren't under our purview.
No, I
but
understand.
Yeah, it's just all.
Yeah, okay. We'll bring back some options, you know, and since, you know, this is on TV, I mean, I just want everybody to understand these dollars are going for in-the-ground projects, maintain that infrastructure. We're not growing government, we're not, you know, it's not going general fund. These are dedicated funds, you know, for the things that you drive on over, you know, every single day. And so we're cognizant of the increase, you know, but the costs have just outlived, and to do less would be horrible, because that would cost us more in the long run.
And then maybe we could get just a one-page list of some of the projects that have been completed under this, so that when we're out, so you can talk about the specific drainage areas or things like that. And then the second thing that did come to me was that when we did implement this way back when, a former commissioner brought up the idea of a county-wide, instead of doing it just in unincorporated, doing it county-wide. And I couldn't tell, 16 cities, is that still accurate? And
23.
Yeah.
I just,
Pinellas Park Water Management District, there's some other agencies in there as well that operate stormwater.
but some, I mean, out of the 24 cities, not all 24 cities have this program.
correct. They don't all have like a stormwater utility, and like, for example, Bel Air Shore doesn't have any infrastructure, because their infrastructure is either county infrastructure on Gulf Boulevard or it's city of Bel Air Beach infrastructure, so.
And then when you're doing that study about those other waterways that connect, it'd be interesting to know if there was a city or entity right next to one of ours that is not maintaining and it impacts our,
Oh, there's no question.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And that is why we've been having these conversations.
So it's kind of like that road that goes between Pinellas and Hillsborough, and there's always that picture that shows up, and you can clearly see where the line is of maintenance. But that works for drainage as well, I guess.
It absolutely
To your
does.
point, Commissioner, that would, if we could regionalize that, I mean, think about the efficiencies that we could have. I think that's a great task. It looks like staff's already looking at that. But it'd be an opportunity for us all to be able to do more with the existing dollars.
And would that average out the cost for everybody and reduce for a portion?
Yeah. So, more to come. All right.
Thank you very much. This has been incredibly helpful, and I really appreciate all the feedback.
Thank you, Kelly and Kelly.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, so moving on to agenda briefing.
Yes, so first, before we get on to the agenda brief, we got a lot of good feedback, obviously, from our strategic planning session. We're still working on that. We staffed that internally, and I really believe that keeping Doug on to facilitate the next session, kind of closing the loop, is important. He's not available until our April 4th work session, and so I wanted to reschedule that. We didn't want to do it until March anyway, considering Commissioner Peters is out, but he's unavailable at the next one in March, so if it's okay with the commission, we'll reschedule that for April the 4th.
Yeah, good.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, on to agenda review. I failed to re-underline my agenda, so I'm going to go back and forth here. Item number 4, okay, this is an Oldsmar. This is a map amendment from office and preservation to public, semi-public. This is a beauty salon and office. They want to construct an additional building, and it requires a local land use. There was unanimously approved at Forward Pinellas and Planners Advisory.
Just a question on this. Is this the same one that we've seen back and forth several times? Did we?
Tom,
did it get
yes?
So we haven't ever, it got withdrawn each time, is that? Yeah, it was withdrawn. Just last time? Okay, thank you.
Item number 5, again, is this was a continued case to the Cities and Planners, Countywide Planning Authority in Tarpon Springs. Wait a minute, it says case continued to the April 9th meeting. Is that the case? So this is a requesting to be continued? Okay. So it's a request to be continued. Item number 6, resolution to expand the boundaries of the county seat. This is the second public hearing. Items 7 through 12 are different reports. Item 13 is a plat of Somerset Villas, a residential subdivision. Item 14 is an award of bid to Suncoast Development for the American Disabilities Act sidewalk drainage and roadway improvements.
Hey, Barry, one
Yes.
question on that. Is this a not to exceed amount?
Oh, you're on item 14?
Yeah. Just says in the amount of 10,330, but a lot of the other items say not to exceed, and I'm just wondering if this is a,
Well, this is a specific, is it a not to exceed? Okay, so it's unit pricing? If so, it's unit pricing, not to exceed 10 million, based upon the actual work completed.
got it, thanks.
Item 15 is award of bid. This is a pump station generator improvement project, 5.7 million. Item 16 is to TLC Diversified Sanitary Sewer Pump Station Repair Rehabilitation. Pretty big projects. Item 17 is joint project agreement with the City of Largo for the relocation replacement county water system infrastructure, which conflicts with the city's roadway and drainage improvements. So there's a cost sharing that's outlined within the packet. Questions? To the regular agenda, item 18 is declaring a county-owned parcel a surplus and deeding it over to the Housing Authority. This is part of the Rainbow Village Rehabilitation Project. Dispose of equipment to allow them to complete their project. Item 19, this is a ATMS project with U.S. Highway, it's an application, grant application with U.S. Transportation Highway Administration for the creation of the Pinellas Advanced Smart Tracking System. Now, this is what we were talking about before, Jill. So this is to look at what St. Pete's doing, and no, this is not. So this is just money that we're requesting to help us? Okay, so continuation of what we're doing, but free money from the federal government, if we get the grant. I get the different ones confused, because we're connecting them in one area, we're trying to do the 18 million that you gave us, and then we're, so. It is, but it's already being taken, so we want our share. How about that? Okay. Yeah, right. So we're requesting $2 million. Item 21 is, again, a bridge investment grant application. This is for replacement of Beckett Bridge. And again, grant request is $21 million, county match for this very large project. Item 22 is a ranking firms with 3B Cattle LLC for land management at Crossbar and Albar Ranch project. And I'm sure you're going to have questions, and Jeremy has answers. This has gone a couple of different rounds a while ago. This is, I think, bringing it back to the way it used to be, correct? Under a single bid. And we had broken it apart, and now they're bringing it back. Still three? It's 3 parts. Oh, you tried to bring it under one? Okay. Do you have questions? You want to do that on Tuesday? Okay. Okay, Jeremy, be ready for a presentation on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, presentation and an update on it, please.
For Tuesday.
Yep. Item 23, Resilient Florida Grant Program. This is wastewater collection system improvements for up to 14 mobile home communities. Grant funds, $25 million. Getting the rainwater out of our system. 24, Resilient Florida Grant Program for 4 county utility locations. So these are upgrades to harden our facilities at the different places listed within your packet.
Hey, Barry?
Yes.
I have a question on back to 23, on the 25 million grant funding. Does that offset something that we had already had budgeted somewhere else?
Come on up, Jeremy. And there's actually going to be some changes to this because under our ARPA dollars, and that's coming as part of that next packet, correct? So we went out and looked at we had, I don't know, how many, 16 different
14.
mobile home communities, or you had a bunch, we could
14.
only fund, the 14, but we could only fund so many under the dollars. They're going after grant funds that will help us with that, but we want to do as many as we can. There's a bigger bang for our buck. We're going to come back to you under the ARPA funds and request that we shift the funds that we were going to target for septic to sewer, because there's easement issues involved, and we don't know if we can get it done in time because of the timeline requirements. So I'll let Jeremy kind of explain what's going on with all this.
So we've done a series of inflow and infiltration studies in the last 8 years. And we identified that the mobile home communities are a large contributor to our inflow and infiltration. That's rainwater that's getting into our sewer system that then we have to treat and deal with. And of all the places that we looked at, we identified the 14, I'll call it biggest bang for our buck mobile home communities. And we created projects that said, okay, what are we going to do to help them resolve the sewer problems in their areas? And these are all privately owned systems today. And so using enterprise funds, we can't go and use our enterprise funds to fix sewers and private property. So now we have grant funding that allows us to go build public infrastructure and help private areas fix the system that will then benefit the public system on the backside. So right now, this grant, public systems that we will own and maintain to the standard compliance that we do in the county standards, so that 10 years or 20 years or 100 years from now, we won't be back here.
Dave, did you have a question?
Are those, just trying to think about are those individual property owned?
No. So we identified
Yes or
areas.
no?
No, they're not. I'm just
Okay.
what he was saying.
So my concern is that we go in and make improvements to an area that then becomes sold off. We've invested lots of money. They sell the property to just build normally. Is there an investment that can transcend that ownership? Or I think of these mobile home parks that are individually owned where they're going to be around. There's another set of mobile home parks that one person owns all of it and they rent out the spots that could be sold tomorrow.
So in order to, the way the project is going forward is we're executing easements and agreements with each of these communities individually. And there's language into those agreements to that effect that the sale of the property, now there's county infrastructure that lives within this project, within easements. You cannot sell out our infrastructure that exists there now.
So I'm not quite sure.
You can't, the way the agreements are structured, and I don't have the legalese in front of me, but essentially we'll own an easement, an entitlement, wrong language. We'll own rights within that for our infrastructure that exists within that property.
So if they were to sell off the property, then they have to come to us because we have some rights.
Correct.
So they would have to buy us out of that as well? Or how does that
We
work?
don't have a reimbursement mechanism if they sell it off to a
Right, and because
residential developer.
it's not county funds that funded the project, the ARPA and Resilient Florida, so the funds would have to be reimbursed back into those pots. But there's a time frame so that, you know, if you sell the property 100 years from now, right,
Okay, well, I'm more concerned about not
5 years.
I know. But I do get concerned about wasting money. I mean, we are talking about property that could be sold, and they're happening all over the place. They happen. So it's expensive infrastructure that we're putting in.
agreed. And I guess what I could say is that I could bring you the actual language and have you, show you, but we've accounted for that in the agreements with these mobile home parks. They understand that they're entering into this agreement for us to do this work on their property with the understanding that those funds will need to be addressed if they sell the property.
They will need to be addressed. Okay, well, that, I'm not sure what that means, but that would be helpful to not only keep that lower cost housing, but also to, you know, not give concern about wasting money. Because really, they could sell it in 5 years, and we've.
They could, and then that infrastructure would be insufficient for what they need, probably. But, you know, that's to your point. What you're trying to say is a reimbursement. I'll talk to them about that.
Okay.
I'll talk to legal about it.
Okay.
I think the one thing we have to keep in mind is right now they're putting, they've got an infrastructure that leaks like a sieve, and that's causing SSOs down in the system. So rather than taking 10 miles of pipe and expanding it to account for the volumes, you know, you're trying to get it out. And so
I think it's great.
there is
I
a
think-
risk,
yeah.
but we've got to do something, and that's the easiest way is to cut it off of its source. I don't know if there's a way to recapture the funds and whether you can because it's grant funds, but it's a fair point. We'll talk about it. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, just don't know. Maybe our motivation more than their motivation to do this improvement, so.
Yeah, the expense of replacing 10 miles of pipe would be far greater,
yeah.
you know, especially when it's grant funds. Okay.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep.
And then the next one's hardening at some of our utility facilities. County attorneys?
Under items 25 and 26, these items are similar. These are both requests to authorize litigation to foreclose on special magistrate liens that came from the code enforcement process. So these are two non-homesteaded properties that we'll be asking authority to file a foreclosure on. Under item number 27, hopefully you all have had the opportunity, I think I see the purple folder over there, to read the confidential memo related to the proposed settlement. And I do not at this time anticipate any reports.
And I will have a county administrator's report. And then you're off to county commission new business. Well, I just to reiterate, what kind of along the lines of what we talked about earlier, if you look back, what you're now putting into the Transportation Trust Fund from increment of your property tax is what's funding our local road repaving program. We're putting a lot more in to try to maintain our infrastructure, and it's making an impact. You finally get the calls where we have problems with contractors because they're repaving. Well, without that, we wouldn't get those calls. They wouldn't be repaving. You'd get a different type of call.
Right.
You know? And so they're actually doing a lot. You saw, I don't know how many miles. Kelly, how many miles of repaving did you do last year on local roads? It was a lot. So
Lots.
that's exactly what that program is doing.
And we did, I did report, I think it was at the last meeting, we had taken a look, and Commissioner Eggers, this was in follow-up to a discussion that you and I had. The sidewalks, the money you're putting there is making a difference.
Yeah.
And I neglected to say that even with the lower number of cases that we have, I think 2 or 3 of the pending sidewalk trip and fall cases, they're not our sidewalks. They belong to another jurisdiction, so that number is actually even lower than what I reported. It's a little harder, I think, to quantify for us. There are, trip and falls that are not sidewalk related. Sometimes people trip over water meters. Sometimes they trip within a park. So those are a little bit those are a little bit more difficult, I think, for us to try to quantify the way we did with the sidewalk cases.
Right.
As to whether we're seeing a difference with, investments. But it's also a little bit different than people trip. They trip all over the place, and they trip in lots of different ways. So.
Indeed, they do. Quick question: do we have any update or status report on the bridge contractors and sort of where that's all at right now?
Yep. Kelly, we're on our way to the mic.
All right. Hello again, Kelly.
So we have done substantial cleanup out at Crosswinds, and I think we've addressed all of the trash and debris issues. So we do have some fairly substantive work to do on the bridge and some rework from the contractor. So we're working through those components that'll take requiring some subs to come in. That includes some of the sewer line work. There are some joint issues on the bridge that need addressed, and then there's the dredging of the channel. We had done a pre-post, and there are some areas that needed additional sediment removal, and those are going to be a little bit more to do. The contractor is now like doing the cleanup in that little island area that the community had received like an MSTU grant to beautify, and so there's going to be a little bit more cost associated with that because there was a hydraulic fuel spill that we're going to have to rip it all out and put it back. So but that work is progressing. We're keeping the website up. We update the website for Crosswinds every Monday. So if there's anything, and then we put out a Nixle alert, so anybody who signed up for the text, they get the text. On Oakwood, we're scheduling some general cleanup. That one's obviously more complicated. It's only 25 to 30% done. We have had meetings with the surety and their representative, and right now the general plan is to bring on another contractor to finish that job. We are waiting for our engineer of records report. We asked them to go out and do a full assessment of what has been done, if there's any rework necessary, and then, the rest of the work that needs to be completed. But right now, we're also going to get that area cleaned up, so at least the visual aspect of it is addressed. But that one is going to continue to be. We've got one lane open because half the bridge is gone, so it's folks are just going to have to go through that area safely, and unfortunately, that one's going to take us a little bit more time.
Thanks.
Just a couple things, if I could. First of all, Kelly, you and your group did a great job on the Grand Canal pre-construction thing. Thank you for that. Obviously, monitoring that going forward. What I found interesting was that natural accretion as opposed to a storm-created accretion, I guess maybe that, I don't know if that even makes sense, but is treated differently. So you can't touch accreted land if it's just natural. So somebody's grounds are growing to their benefit, I guess, but they can go away too, I guess, to their, But we can't touch that. So there were some areas around the corner that got a little narrower because of that accreted land Anyway, it was really good, and it seemed like you had a few people on there asking some questions, so it was good. And this other one's just a kind of a comment. I've been getting some comments, and I participated in some of the exchange too on Nextdoor for the trail and how we're doing the trail now versus how we used to do the trail. Increasing concerns about the safety issues that are now on the trail because of everything's now moving, everybody moves to their right. So you're now commingling bikers, e-bikes, mothers with strollers, walkers, anybody. They're all on the right side, and people are passing on your left. And I know when I walk on a street, I like to walk on the sidewalk facing the traffic because it makes me nervous who's coming behind me. And so that's what everybody's having to deal with now. And when they separate the walkers, they have to crisscross back over to get onto the right side again because it's always when you separate the walkers, they're always on the eastern side or the left side of the trail. So I just think it's something that we need to monitor and look at again. It used to be where we kept the walkers to one side and the bikers to the other, but it seems like the more you walk that trail, it's being kind of turned over to the wheeled community, the bikers and e-bikes, and they're flying and just they always complain about bicycle lanes on where the cars go because of the different speeds the relative speeds are 45 versus a 20-mile-an-hour bike. And so what we're doing is we're introducing 20-mile-an-hour bikes next to 2-mile walkers, and it's a problem. And I think we should look at it again. I've not been in favor of that change from the beginning, but it would be nice to get an update to see how things are going.
We can
More than the area that I.
Yeah, we can
you know,
certainly bring forward Pinellas and Paul Kazi in to give you an update. They're doing a lot, though, and remember, that section, the section that we're talking about, we really only have an issue in a 1 mile section because of the use there in Dunedin. That's the majority of the complaints that we get.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
If it's just that area, we can address just that area.
And they're doing that. Like, they've worked with the sheriff. They're going to be doing some enforcement and education with the sheriff's office. But they meet with the city of Dunedin regarding those strategies. And they come up jointly between the sheriff's office, the city of Dunedin, and our staff regarding some of those strategies. And I know that they've got, so we can get you an update, but there's a lot of activity in that of what they're working on and trying to make some of that change or mitigate some of the problems, within that area.
Yeah, well, that's a different issue in that area because it's so congested.
Yes.
But there's other areas, it's not just downtown, that you have the same problem. Because there's family residences all up and down that trail, and they pop out onto the trail.
Okay.
And it's just different.
Well, we'll schedule Paul to come up and give you an update.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a targeted enforcement day for the trail coming up, I think,
Right.
April. It was supposed to be like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
but the weather pushed it out. But that's something that needs to happen on a more than just a one-time basis. Because the e-bikes, to your point, I'm a pretty regular trail user and more south, and they fly.
Well, I saw the other day, I saw a tricycle
Yeah.
e-bike.
Jeez.
So now you have the
Right.
width of my golf cart in
Right.
the back, and then it comes to a point. So, and then I saw a bicycle with 4 wheels on it. That's the same footprint as the golf
jeez.
cart. So what you're moving towards is golf carts on the trail because everything else is there. And golf carts go 15 to 20 miles an hour, most of them. And these e-bikes probably go 30.
Well, some of them are
and
just e-motorcycles.
yeah, and they're heavy, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
not, somebody
not light.
said they're not like a bicycle.
They're like 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah, so it's a different time today than.
Yeah. We'll
it was.
schedule Paul. I'd like to have Paul, and I'd also like to have Port Pinellas here because they do a lot with that and meeting, because there's so many different groups. They meet with, these bicycle groups, they meet with the cities. It's not just our staff setting those policies, it's collective input of everybody. So we'll get a group together and come in and give you an update and allow you an opportunity to ask
Yeah.
questions. And
A bicycle advisory group,
Yeah.
somebody from that would be nice to have too.
so we'll work on scheduling that.
Okay. Anything else? You want to do your reports now, or do? On Tuesday? Got it. Sounds good. All right. Well then, if there's nothing else, then we're adjourned.